All right. LB, can you hear me? I'm just checking in a few minutes early to make sure that everything's working. And I hope people are starting to tune in. Let me see if I can turn on the chat to see. All right. Hang on, we're just waiting a few minutes till we get some people tuned in. Just making sure that everything's working. These things can sometimes be a little glitchy, but okay. Yes, good, okay, good, all right. Just heard from LB that she can actually see and hear me, so that is good. Naturally, a few minutes ago, as I was, starting to sort of panic about this, I heard a loud roaring noise, and it was the guy who mows my lawn who had shown up to mow my lawn. So I went out and said, "Gee, will you be done by 2 o'clock?" And he said, "Oh yeah, I'll be done with the mowing part by 2." So then he finished the mowing part, and he started doing the, kind of like kind of weed pulling kind of stuff. And my dog started barking to alert me to the fact that this guy was in the yard. So I had to go out and say, maybe you could come back later this afternoon. Anyhow, so you've been spared the noise of the lawnmower and the dog, I hope. But at any rate, we'll give it a few more minutes. How are we doing? Yeah, still a few minutes to 2. Yeah, 4 more minutes to go. I hope you can hear. I guess. All right. Good. Oh, all right. Good. Good. LB and Elisa. Good. All right. Okay. Good. All right. Starting to get a couple more people tuning in. 2. Okay. I hope we get more than 2. Well, there's always the recording. Yeah, okay. Hi. Hi, Lisa. Good. All right. I know it takes a couple minutes sometimes for this to show up in the feed, and it takes, sometimes people don't always know how to find it. I hope we'll get more than 2. Otherwise, I sent my lawn guy away for nothing. All right. Yay! Hi! Hello, Trent. Good. Okay, we're starting to get there. Just waiting for a few more people to join and figure out how to actually see this feed. It sometimes takes a while. They Facebook didn't make it easy to find, but so far it seems like the tech is working and the dog isn't barking, so all good. All right. I'll wait till a couple of minutes past 2. And if you're just tuning in, this is the beautiful cover of my book, Mothers of Ireland. They found the statue in Turlough Abbey, County Mayo. I really love the design of it. Let's see, okay. Got one more. And it's, let's see what time, 1:59, okay. We'll give it to a few minutes past 2 to start. I'm seeing the comments on the right if you're tuning in and want to say hi. Okay. This series has been such a great idea. I really enjoyed hearing the first couple of readings in this series. Okay. All right, we're finally starting to get some more folks. We'll give it just a couple of more minutes. Sorry that you have to stare at my wall. Artwork by Shauna Atkins on either end and Bernie Imes in the middle. Okay. All right, good. We're getting up to 11. Good. Just about 2 more minutes and I'll start. Okay, so bear with me. Good. All right. I'm seeing some more comments. Yay! Oh, hi, Lisa. Karen in Florida. Yay! Yay! All right. Good. 13. Good. All right. $14, good, okay. I was afraid I was just going to have 2. Not that I haven't read to 2 people before. Most poets have had that experience. But anyhow, I'm about ready to get started. Okay. I'll be reading from my new book, Mothers of Ireland, which just came out from LSU Press this spring. The theme of the book is the ways in which the trauma that my Irish and Irish American ancestors went through, especially my female ancestors, the ways in which that trauma gets passed on down to subsequent generations, whether it's, as some people believe, because trauma causes actual changes in the DNA, or whether it's because trauma affects the personality of the people going through it and molds them in ways that changes their behavior toward, the people that they are raising. Whichever way you believe, it definitely has effects, and Irish history certainly is full of trauma. The first poem I'm going to read, it's a villanelle. I write in form, I think partly because Irish American culture is a very oral culture, very much oriented toward music, storytelling. I like my poems to be heard with the ears, not just telegrammed to the brain directly. So this is a villanelle, and it's called Inheritance. They say that trauma's coded in the genes, passed down to generations yet unborn, as thymine bases bond to adenines and guanines throw a rope to cytosines, and brand new double helixes are formed with ancient trauma coded in the genes. To watch one's children with their mouths stained green from eating grass till all the grass is shorn, die one by one. Do thymines, adenines absorb the echoes of a parent's screams? Too late, the boats of stony Indian corn. Small wonder trauma's coded in the genes. Like spools of film with horror movie scenes in which our own progenitors performed, those spiral loops of thymines, adenines roll on inside us, soundless and unseen. There's no escape except not being born from trauma not our own, but in our genes. The Hunger, Coffin Ships, 1916. And the next one I'm going to read is about my great-grandparents, Jack Lynch and Mary McCarthy, who had a very romantic backstory. They grew up in the same little townland in County Cork on neighboring farms. Jack, my great-grandfather, was the eldest son. He was due to inherit the little family farm. So he proposed to beautiful Mary McCarthy, who said no. She didn't want to stay in Ireland. She wanted to go to America. So she went, and he couldn't stand it. He gave up his rights to the farm. He took a ship over there after her, and he found her, of course, working as a domestic servant for very little money. He proposed to her again, and she said yes. So you would expect after that for them to live happily ever after, like a fairy tale, but actually she was a very mean woman, a very sharp-tongued woman, and made his life hell. But this is a little sonnet about her. It's called That One Over. She wore the china cabinet key around her neck, as if she couldn't trust even her longtime mate to keep from making off with a gold-rimmed plate to hawk for whiskey money when he'd spent his check. And what was inside the cabinet to warrant theft? China with chipped edges, silver that was silver plate, a cut crystal jam jar that she grandly called a vase, a statue of Mary that a Lord's priest had blessed. Everyone else in town thought her man hung the moon. She wouldn't even call him by his Christian name. That one over, she'd say, pointing across the room. She made him sleep on the porch when he'd had a few. To be Irish then was to be awash in shame. He hadn't deceived her yet, but you never knew. And this one, Jack Lynch and his wife settled in Foxborough, Massachusetts, which people now have heard of because the Patriots play there. But when my mother was growing up, it was a tiny little town of 10,000 people. And if you were Irish Catholic, you were the bottom, you were scum, basically. And this is Foxborough Sestina. I think probably most people listening know what a sestina is, but if you don't, 6 stanzas, 6 lines each, and the 6 end words, the last word of each line, are the same in every stanza, but like reshuffled in different orders. So this is Foxborough Sestina. My mother just wanted to get out of Foxborough, where it was embarrassing to be Irish Catholic. The priest kept his golf clubs in her parents' shed, a blanket excuse to drop in for a drink. Everyone knew everyone else's secrets in that town of 10,000 with its central green. Mayflower descendants once grazed sheep on that green smack in the middle of downtown Foxborough. And it was a very badly kept secret. They burned down the first church built by Catholics. So rinky-dink, its crucifixion was only a painting. Firemen just let it burn, as if it were some backyard shed. Fires could have been quenched with the tears my mother shed. Once, sent home from grade school with her stomach green, she found her pretty young Irish mother drunk in the lap of the duffer priest from Foxborough. 7 years old, she began to hate being Catholic, though she kept what she saw that afternoon a secret. How often she wished she could keep it a secret that her granny kept chickens in a coop behind the shed. Protestants bought their chickens already plucked, unlike Catholics. These days, it is cool to raise chickens and eat green, but it was not cool when my mother lived in Foxborough. She prayed they'd all drown in the troughs where they drank. My mother's Uncle Tim was the town's official drunk. The brains of his family, Tim was rumored to have secretly taken the dental boards for his brother in practice in Foxborough. But once Tim started drinking, all inhibitions were shed. He would serenade her friends from his spot on the town green, sad songs like Kathleen Mavourneen, so embarrassingly Irish Catholic. My mother escaped the town, though she raised us vaguely Catholic, by marrying a dashing Irishman, a bit too fond of drink. For her 50th high school reunion, she returned to stand on its green, surprising us all with sentiment she'd managed to keep secret. Did she sense the encroaching cancer, that looming watershed? That last year, she drank from a mug that said Foxborough. Okay. And I'll read another mother poem. If you were raised by an Irish or Irish American mother, you know that they believe in lowering a child's self-esteem. If you're feeling proud of yourself for any reason or good about yourself, it is the Irish mother's duty to immediately sort of smack you down. And this poem is called I Dreamed of Being Mothered by a Cat. I dreamed of being mothered by a cat, sunk in her plush as in a feather bed. I'd never known a happiness like that. My human mother's claws would not retract. Even her language could unzip her red. I dreamed of being mothered by a cat who'd give her life to save me from attack. I sensed that fierceness in her as I fed. I'd never known a happiness like that. If there were siblings, I ignored that fact. I had her to myself, or I forget, the whole time I was mothered by a cat. One dream can strike you like a thunderclap. That mother cat, more goddess than a pet. I'd never known a happiness like that. The world was pure sensation, not abstract, some realm between the living and the dead. I dreamed of being mothered by a cat, and something healed inside me after that. Okay? I'll just read 2 more poems. This one is My Great Aunt Grace, and naturally in a book about Irish American ancestors and family, there's going to be a thread of alcoholism running all the way through it. Many of the poems in my 4th section are about that. My Great Aunt Grace. I would be lying where she lies, if not for the grace of God. That is the price for trying to drink a whole case of God. She fell down a flight of stairs and fractured her skull. Complications of alcoholism, wrote the coroner in the space of God. What shame did she bring her sisters who would not claim the corpse? She lay in the morgue 6 months. Slow is the pace of God. When I was fat with cash, I tried to buy her a stone, forbidden in Potter's Field, which is not a place of God. I stare at the wedding photo, my great aunt's little fox face radiant as if she had just glimpsed the face of God. She married a sailor, was saved from a waitressing job, but soon it was clear he was not from a race of gods. Straighten up, or you'll end up on Dover Street, so warned the nuns of Boston, who were the chaste of God. Her last address was a cold water rooming house on Dover Street, carried out on a stretcher drunk to the disgrace of God. I carry her disease as I carry her middle name, written on paper, not stone. It cannot be effaced by God. And I'll close with a little sonnet. The older I get, the more I sense that the dead, our ancestors, are always with us. This is called As If. As if the corpse behind the crime scene tape got up and took a bow where it dropped dead. As if I got a phone call from the grave and asked its occupant to share my bed. 9 years ago, we fought and split apart with our beloved city underwater. I turned to short-term lovers in the dark. You moved in with a Southern judge's daughter. I have to pinch myself to prove you're back, though balder, 10 pounds thinner, better dressed. As if the universe had jumped a track, no hurricane, no choices second-guessed. At times, my ears pick up the strangest sound, as if the dead were clapping underground. Thank you for tuning in. If you like the poems, please go to the LSU Press website. It's Mothers of Ireland, just out. Thank you very much. And I'm going to look at the little comments now. See? Oh, nice. Hi. Oh, look at all these good. Yes. Great people. All right, and I'll tune out. Thank you so much. Look at, oh, wow, Sheila, Marianne, Sandra, yay. Deb, oh my gosh. Stephanie, Melissa, Tish, Lisa, Karen, yay, Trent. All right, bye-bye. Thank you for tuning in.